football in the AFC. If the playoffs started today, they would be welcoming the Buffalo Bills. Intriguing little matchup. They've got two back-to-back divisional opponents to get through. Who does the South belong to? It'll be decided tonight right here on NFL Network. This is GMFB, presented by Intuit QuickBooks, live in New York City, November 21st. My name's Kay. Hey, Burleson.
What's up, Kay Adams?
This is a big show, a big show. We've got Kyle Brandt and Peter Schrager, but this is like made for you, this show.
This is a great show. This is made for me.
Yeah.
This is made for everybody watching at home. So coming up on Good Morning Football,
I mean, come on.
We have Vikings wide receiver Stefon Diggs. No, he's not going to be joining us via satellite on the team cam or FaceTime. He's going to be right here in studio. One of the coolest dudes in the world, one of the best wide receivers in the business. And there's a big game tonight, like Kay said, a big matchup between the Texans and the Colts. So I want to break something down for you. I'm going to give you a Burrow lesson like you've never seen it before. What makes Deshaun Watson special, and why is he going to bounce back from last week's terrible loss? I'll break it all down here in a little bit. And you know what, guys? This is how we do it. We've got another massive guest on the show. We're talking about a legend, an urban legend. He is a legend in music and pop culture.
It's really happening.
Montel Jordan is going to be in studio.
Not just an urban legend, he's a suburban legend.
Suburban legend.
Jordan.
This is how we do it. It's Thursday morning, right?
This is how we do it. Let's get to it. One of the best shows ever.
And I was like, what is going on?
This show is
going to be incredible. It's time for the lead block.
Lead block.
Let's welcome in from Montel Jordan to James Palmer out of Houston, Texas this morning. James, thanks for joining us on GMFB on this Thursday. Let's talk DeAndre Hopkins. He is maybe the most talented wide receiver in the National Football League. I feel like we haven't seen enough big plays from him this season. How are the Texans going to utilize their star wide receiver in their game plan up against an injured Colts secondary?
Yeah, okay, the biggest thing about the Colts is, right, they have that dominant run game and they want to stay on the field. Well, how do you keep that group off the field? You extend drives, and that's exactly what DeAndre Hopkins does. He's second in the NFL with 75 catches, but 47 of those have gone for first downs. Now, how does he always move the chains when everybody knows he's getting the football? Well, Bill O'Brien told me it's because he knows this offense cold. He can play every receiver position. They can line him up in any spot, and that makes things harder on defenses. Deshaun Watson told me this week it's because of what him and Hopkins see pre-snap. They're always on the same page and always know different ways they can exploit a defense by seeing things before the ball is even snapped. And the last part is because DeAndre Hopkins studies so much. We know he has a brilliant skill set, but he told me this offseason he spent time studying Julian Edelman. It's one of Hopkins' favorite receivers, he told me, and he said it's because he always finds ways to move the chains. He always finds ways to get an extra 4 or 5 yards to keep his offense on the field. That's why Hopkins likes Edelman so much, and obviously Hopkins would like to do that to keep this Colts running game off the field.
JP, we all remember where we were when Andrew Luck retired. It was shock and awe. We came in here the next day on the show and said, can the Colts rally around Jacoby Brissett? Sure enough, now they're battling for sole possession of first place. Tell us about Jacoby Brissett this year and what the journey has been like for him and how important he is to this team.
Yeah, Kyle, that's the biggest thing, and I don't think we talk about it enough with the timing of Andrew Luck retiring and how Jacoby Brissett has made this team his. It's remarkable, really. And Frank Reich pointed out that he holds his teammates at a higher standard than any other player he has been around. He said Andrew did a really good job of it, but not to the level that Jacoby does. There was a rookie recently that went out to practice, wasn't late, but was cutting it kind of close. Jacoby Brissett on the field made him know that that is not the way the Colts do things. He has established this culture. When he returned from injury, players in the locker room in Indianapolis on Sunday were saying it. Listen, no slight to Brian Hoyer, but he is not Jacoby. He doesn't run this team the way he does it. And then on the field as well, we know they're a run-first team, but what he does, getting them in and out of checks, the relationship he has with Ryan Kelly, their center. Frank told me this week, that what the two of them do together to get them running the football where they can be most successful is very underrated, and they believe Jacoby played the best game of his season last Sunday against the Jaguars.
He played a really nice game against this team, the Texans, in Week 7 when he threw for over 300 yards and scored 4 touchdowns. That said, T.Y. Hilton is questionable for tonight. Eric Ebron, Marlon Mack is ruled out with his injury following surgery on Monday. So might be a little bit of a tougher task here tonight on Thursday Night Football. Thank you so much, James Palmer. Let's size up these quarterbacks, shall we?
All right.
Let's take a look at them. Comparing the last time they faced each other, Week 7. Yeah, career highs for Jacoby Brissett. Yards, passing touchdowns, passer rating. Brissett, 4-0 as a starter against the Texans. 4-0, you guys, going back to his Patriot days. Deshaun Watson on his home turf, though, where he's thrown just one interception in his last 331 pass attempts. He's great when he's there in Houston. So who has the edge tonight, Peter? Deshaun Watson or Brissett?
I want to say Deshaun Watson has the edge because we've seen Deshaun Watson have such big games and big spots. And Brissett, as great as he's been, what a good story, Deshaun Watson is one of those gamers that when it all is on him, except for one game. And it was last year in the playoffs when everyone was saying the same thing going in against Andrew Luck, that, hey, this is the hottest team in football, Deshaun Watson's first playoff game. It was a home playoff game where they won the division, and they hosted a Colts team that came in hot as well, and Deshaun Watson didn't have it. Deshaun Watson did not have a good game in a big spot. And in fact, rubbed a lot of people wrong in this game because they were down 21-0 at home on a Saturday afternoon, everybody watching, and Watson converts a first down, and down 21-0 does something very uncharacteristic for Deshaun Watson. He runs, and this is actually characteristic, gets a first down. Down 21-0 does the first down signal.
Right.
Twitter exploded. People around the league were kind of like, what, dude? You're down 21-0 in a playoff game. Even Steve Harvey had something to say about the first down signal. Let's take a look at NFL honors last year.
Oh, boy.
Now you make a first down. Now you spinning the football. Now we got to wait till the damn ball stops spinning. You all here. It's 10 yards. Get your punk ass down there to the end zone.
Everyone had their laughs that night, but it was in January earlier that year where he was doing that in a loss, and people remember that. So to me, Deshaun Watson hasn't had a ton of success against the Colts, certainly hasn't had a ton of success at home against the Colts. Let's see if he can get a win and reverse the story from last year.
I'm glad you brought that up, Shrey.
It's like Kings of Comedy got him.
Yeah, I know, right? Steve Harvey
want
with that
that.
mustache. Steve, what up, Steve? Love me some Family Feud. Here's the thing, though. We mentioned that Deshaun Watson is clutch, and rightfully so. He's played big in some big moments. What we don't mention is Deshaun Watson's ability to bounce back after a bad game. Last week, he didn't have a good game, right? He got blew out by the Ravens.
Worst
he had
ever.
169 yards passing, 0 TDs, 1 interception. He was sacked 7 times. So you're asking, Nate, well, why are you bringing that up? Because that has happened already this season. You mentioned the game against Indy. That was week 7. The game is Indy this year. 1 TD, 2 interceptions. Yeah. They lost the game. He bounced back against the Oakland Raiders and gets busy. He wins the game 27-24, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions. He completed 70% of his passes. Let's take it back even earlier in the year. He loses to Carolina. 160 yards, 0 TDs. It's not a Deshaun Watson game.
Tough thing.
He hits the reset button and bounces back versus Atlanta, puts up 53 points. My man had 5 TDs and a perfect passer rating. The reason I wanted to bring that up because as much as we can appreciate Deshaun Watson, I think what we're not noticing is when he plays a bad game, he bounces back and plays even better the following week. So for me, I do believe because of last week, getting embarrassed in front of the world up against another top-tier talented quarterback that we thought was going to be a matchup for 4 quarters, no. He's going to bounce back.
He lost 16-10 to the Panthers, and we all saw the footage of him at the stadium practicing hours after the loss. Like, he was there, and cameras picked him up out there throwing, doing drills, and trying to get better. So maybe he does bounce back at home on a short week.
I think he does. But if we're asking who has the edge, are we talking about, like, who's cooler? Because Deshaun is very cool, and there's a lot of things that he does that Jacoby can't do. Like, Jacoby didn't beat Alabama in college. He lost the Belk Bowl. It's not very glamorous. Jacoby is not doing flips into the end zone. In fact, he was running into the end zone as a backup to celebrate it. Like, that was him. He also doesn't lose to the Colts, or he doesn't lose to the Texans, rather. 4-0, and it goes better than that. He's never thrown an interception against the Texans. He is absolutely perfect. I was reading this game preview on the way in this morning, and it was a USA Today, and they're talking about, oh, Jacoby's really good. He does this, and then the last line was, now he's no Andrew Luck, but he can play some ball. I don't know, really? Against the Texans, he has been better than Andrew Luck. You can look up their passer rating. I won't bore you with it. It's better ever than Luck was against the Texans. I think right now, guys, Deshaun Watson gets the Michael Jordan comparisons. Jacoby looks like Isaiah Thomas right now, the guy who beats him every time early in his career and maybe doesn't have the talent. I'm into it. Deshaun is maybe a cooler superstar, but right now, Jacoby Brissett's been a better quarterback.
Well said. We'll see how it shakes out tonight. It'll be a close one. We'll, of course, call our shots a little bit later. We've got plenty of guests on the show, but it all goes down tonight. Colts, Texans, Thursday Night Football at 8 Eastern on NFL Network. Right here, don't change the channel all day. We'll have James Palmer. We'll have all your latest reports. T.Y. is going to play huge in this.
I hope he plays, because if he does, he owns that stadium.
We'll let you know when we know right here on NFL Network. You can also catch the game on Fox, of course, and streaming on Prime Video. More GMFB just ahead. A huge guest on the show, Vikings wide receiver Stefon Diggs, later skater.
Here we go.
Joining us in studio. I love that he's coming to his other family uninvited.
This is us.
The only guy to ever use our own